Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you had a good week. Made it to Friday. My voice is fading, uh, but I'm excited to do this video because it's a topic that's near and dear to my heart. I see this all the time with couples in session, and Julie and I have a little bit of this dynamic. Some of my friends and family, people who are near and dear to my heart, have this dynamic. Hey, Scott, in their relationship. So, if you identify yourself in this video, I promise I am not picking on you. You are not alone. This is a common pattern, a common dynamic. And when it's not going well, it's really painful. When but it can get better, and when it goes great, uh, then it's awesome because you complement each other, and it's a beautiful thing. But it's something that unless you learn how to manage it and communicate in healthy ways, it can be really painful and it can drive you apart. So uh, in marriage, very often, it's usually the woman, but not all the time, one of you is more sensitive, more emotionally expressive, uh, you have higher highs, low lows with emotions, and often extroverted. Uh, yeah, Scott, um, that doesn't work. um, the so because of the emotional volatility, you can be attracted to the strong silent type, the person who's very steady, who's very calm, whose feathers don't get ruffled, someone who's just uh, patient and yeah, just solid and steady and loyal. Um, and sometimes that person is introverted, and if you're the quiet one, you can be attracted to this energetic, fun, captivating creature who is the life of the party and is spontaneous and adventurous, and that's attractive. You're attracted to each other, but unfortunately, the things that attract you um, when things are tough can repel you, right? So this is what I see in session. Uh, Couple will come in, and I see this with couples that have been married for a long time, and couples right up to their wedding. And sometimes, like I said, when it's not going well, it's painful. Like it can be a deal breaker sometimes. Um, so come in session, and the person who's emotional, they will start crying in the first minute or two. Or we get through some stuff, and then the pain, the anger, the hurt comes out, and then the other person, yeah, their spouse, is sitting there at the other end of the couch, um, deer in the headlights, and they don't know what to do. They don't know what to say. They're just overwhelmed by the intensity of the other person's emotions. And sometimes, if this continues unchecked for a while, the person who's more stoic and reserved, they can start to feel resentful and feel hostage to the other person's emotions. They might feel like they're always walking on eggshells because the person is just so reactive and emotional, and they take up all the emotional space. Or in a conversation or in conflict, they just use up all the words, and they just get overwhelmed by the emotions, and they just shut down. And so, what attracted them in the first place is just exhausting. It and um, they're usually reserved and in control of themselves, and um, they it can be really frustrating because they just feel powerless. They just feel just yeah held hostage to the other person's emotions. And now on the flip side, the other person who's getting emotional, um, they're using emotion to get what their emotional need met. The other person's shutting down, so they ramp up and they're freaking out because the other person's abandoning them emotionally. They're checking out of the conversation. So what do? They just intensify their emotions. And so John Gray, men are from Mars, women are from Venus. He talked about the cave, like um, the solid, the silent, strong person. They're just the bear, and the emotional person is trying to poke the bear to get a reaction, and the bear retreats further into the cave, right? So, like, it looks very different, and we're on other extremes with emotions, but it's actually two sides of the same coin. It's dealing with fear very often, and it's control. See, a lot of the guys, and this is with couples and with individuals that I work with, is I try to get people who don't have permission to feel feelings, who are shut down. Maybe they're not aware of what they're feeling, to be more self aware and have permission to be more expressive emotionally and in touch with their feelings. On the flip side, for the person who's super emotional and sensitive, I try to help them feel less. So I try to help one spouse feel more, help the other person feel less, to be less out of control with their feelings, because they set the emotional thermostat, but then after and set the emotional tone, and that can be helpful until it's out of control. And it's really painful. It's really painful and a lot of times it's based on fear. So, for the person who is super sensitive, they get their feelings hurt, and I start with them and encourage you, if this is you, to learn how to self-soothe, learn how to be less reactive. Now, I can't go through all that in this short video. I'm going to post some links that are going to help. But one of the key things is to try to trust that you can ask for what you want and what you need without the emotions, without the intensity of the emotion. So some people, they grow up and they learn that they don't have a voice, that they won't be heard and noticed unless they get intense emotionally. So learn how to ask for what you want and what you need, and trust that you don't have to cry and get upset to be noticed. And you don't have to scream and yell to be heard. Now, this is key. Like, you want to learn this ideally early on in the relationship before the cement hardens on your habits and your patterns. If you've been volatile emotionally for a long time, it can take practice and it can take coaching, and you might need some help and accountability and encouragement. Counseling can help, especially if you've gone through really traumatic, hard things. You got to learn that you can calmly ask for what you want and need, and be connected with your partner. You don't have to use guilt or manipulation to get what you want. On the flip side, if you are, oh, I'm going to push a button here. Phone's about to die. If you are shut down or quiet and reserved, you maybe you're not doing it out of fear. Maybe you just don't feel things. Maybe you're not in touch with emotions. Maybe you don't know how you feel. You can learn how to identify your emotions, um, I'd encourage you to learn how to be more open and transparent about what you want and what you need in the relationship, and to have healthier boundaries. Don't let you teach your partner how to treat you. You coach your partner how to treat you. So if you've been allowing them to verbally abuse you, or manipulate you with guilt and shame and emotions, you might have to be more assertive, learn how to be more assertive, um, and and set some boundaries and limits on their bad behavior. Now, I'm not saying, if you're the emotional person, that you need to change your personality. You don't need to, like, uh, repress your emotions. Um, I'm all about validating people's emotions. You have to learn how to express them in a healthy way. Um, and you might need to check yourself and see if you're being selfish. Um, and for the person who's quiet and reserved and shut down, you might have to check yourself and be open or honest of whether or not you're being passive aggressive, or fearful of conflict. Uh, so so one of the things with either side of this is to just be braver, to be brave enough to be uh, to be softer, to be more honest and transparent with how you're feeling and what you need. Um, the if you've been going through this for a long time, for weeks, months, years, um, it can be really hard to work through this, and um, you can feel really distant and disconnected. See, for the person who uh, is more emotional and sensitive, um, at first, the steady, quiet, calm, and reserve is very grounding and stabilizing. But um, in conflict or under stress, it can feel like rejection, right? It can feel like distance and abandonment. Um, so I hope that helps, guys. There's so much to say with this. Here's a few resources, and these are some of the things that I most commonly give as homework. So, number one, if you need to learn more about healthy expression and identification of emotions, my friend Mark Shelsky's book, The Wisdom of Your Heart, is a great place to start. I'll post the link. His website has a section that goes deeper into the book. It's very helpful, especially if you grew up with the message that emotions are scary, anger is scary, sadness is scary. Um, it it it's really good with understanding the role of emotions in our lives. Um, if you have unhealthy patterns of communicating and your emotions take over, um, and make it difficult to work through problems, or you start avoiding each other and conflict, Stop the Fight by Dr. Michelle Brody is a great book. Very practical, very helpful. I wish I could show it to you, but I'm not in the office. And even in the office, all my loaner copies are gone. Great book. Stop the Fight. Boundaries. Boundaries in marriage. Um, Very often, our idea of boundaries is what we won't do and our limits. Um, but the one part about boundaries that we don't realize is it's not what you won't do. Uh, a healthy boundary is who you are, communicating who you are, how you feel, what you want, what you need, and what you will do. Boundary setting is a very active thing. You can learn more about it in Boundaries in Marriage. And if you're not a reader, I assign this all the time. cloudtownsend.com, their video channel, and the subsection on relationships has tons and tons of videos that are very helpful about having hard conversations uh, with with each other. It's a really helpful book, um, book and video. So, hope that helps, guys, and I hope you have a great weekend. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to let me know. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Take care. I'll see you next time.